Brett, we're back again. I feel as if we're spending more time doing these podcasts than we are working, but it's good.
A lot of people are requesting them.
Anyway, what we want to talk about today is our technology. So if you send out one of our building assessors out to do a survey in a property, a residential property, say, so how long is it taking them using our technology now, as opposed to how long was it previously before we had the real technology that we've got?
Obviously, it's a lot quicker, but it's not only the speed, it's the accuracy and the information that we're gathering, which enables us to better our product. So the whole system was developed around volume, because we thought we were going to get volume because everybody is going to take on the sum insurance thing, which has been a bit of a mish, but anyway, we won't go there. We could do a maximum of 2 jobs a day previously when we had the paper. And if it really depends on the property as well. If it's a basic residential, we could get up to 5 a day, but we were actually gathering a lot more information. We're a lot more accurate and we're consistent. So versus 2. And it's not just that, as we've split the costs within the business with the BA, and our whole system uses our whole business, which is the BA, the admin team, and the QS team. So it splits all that responsibility through all those teams, as opposed to one person following it from start to finish.
When the BA goes to site, can you talk us through a bit of the process from when we get a job right in? Because I know that the admin team are involved from dot right through to the end. So they're first to touch it and last to touch it. So can you talk us through, not overly detailed, but through the process?
So basically, let's just assume that the admin team have booked the job in. So the job gets booked into our system, and
so but a client can actually book a job in as well, can't
we can book it in online. Well, there's different portals. You can go through a broker, you go through an insurer, you can go online, you can ring up, you can email.
Our technology allows people to go on or brokers to go on and book surveys online, and customers can book them on our website as well.
Yeah, once it's in the system, it follows the same process. So a day in the life of a BA, I guess, is they'll wake up in the morning, or they might have a look at it the day before, and everything's scheduled out. Because we need to be efficient in scheduling. We don't want people driving around everywhere. Then you'll get less jobs done, and they'll get annoyed. And so we take a few things into consideration.
And then I'll get annoyed.
That's right. Well, we all get annoyed. And so they will have a look at the schedule, and they'll have a look at the jobs that they're doing for the week, or for the day, or the week, or the month if they want to. But generally they'll look on a day-to-day basis to say, okay, I have to be at this place here. So they open up the app and they can start the process, which is you can get into Google Maps straight away. It'll tell you how to get there, how long it's going to take you. And
so it's actually connected to Google Apps and then Google Maps, and that's a link on the technology, and that gives them links into their car, and it's on the screen on the car.
So Apple CarPlay, it's linked into that, and then we've got that in all our cars, and so it's all hands-free, so they don't have to use their phone while they're driving. So, I mean, we take all that for granted, but
these are actually really cool things that we've got in the technology.
And it gives them a heads up. So any basic communication that the admin team have had with the client, it could be, I've got a rabbit wolf as a pet and it doesn't like BAs, so be aware, or there's no car parking, or it's a steep gravel drive, or it's a private road that goes for 5Ks, or we're going to pick you up in a boat.
Which we have had. We've been picked up in helicopters to do jobs.
So basically they'll get a heads up, and so they can go there prepped. So they turn up to the job, they introduce themselves, they also already know the person, the contact person on site. So it becomes quite personal. When we were building the system, we wanted 3 personal touch points throughout the whole system, and that's essentially the second one. The first one is when admin are actually talking to people on the phone.
And that was something that you and I decided a long time ago, that we could put the whole thing into technology, and nobody touches anybody, nobody speaks to anybody. There's no human touch. When we decided that we wanted that human touch and left that phone call out, everybody will get a phone call to get a survey.
Yeah, that's right. We thought that would be a point of difference between us and our competitors, but unfortunately we don't have any competitors, but it's actually still nice to have, because AI is sort of doesn't have that personal touch.
People like that. People like that. That's a real person coming to see them, and it's a real person they're talking to.
Yeah. So they get there, and then basically they introduce themselves, tell them what the process is. They would have already been notified of that at the booking when they confirm the job, and then start the process, which is walking around, taking photos, measuring, and answering those 220 questions.
Yeah.
And it's very streamlined. We basically have those questions, but we also have answers for those questions. So we basically, the BEA on site will choose the closest answer to the question with regards to specification, quality, and materials.
Yeah.
But the measurements go in as actual real measurements. So we don't rely on drawings. We decided at the early stage that we won't rely on council drawings or third-party information. Sometimes we ask for third-party information, but that's just really just to give us a bit of an idea of the scope of the job. And we take the measurements with we used to use tape measures and stuff, and it's all laser.
To go back to the third-party information, we decided not to do that because we know that the council information is 99% of the time it's not accurate. It's not up to date.
Yeah.
And other systems use that data.
Yeah. Well, the calculators use third-party information. I mean, they even print it on their waiver when they take no responsibility for the numbers that are getting spat out.
And you can't get more accurate than actually going and visiting the property.
Well, because we're based on science-based profession, being quantity surveyor, we actually have to have real information, or as real as it possibly can be. So the measurements are all real. We might have the drawings and we can use them as a bit of an indicator, and sometimes the BAs on site like it because it could be an odd shaped house, and you know what you're going to get into before you actually get there, and some of them might actually do a take off the drawing before they go and just confirm the measurements on site. In that app, when you open that job, you can do a whole village. So just to give you a bit of an idea of the scope of what we can do endless amounts of buildings. So we could do a retirement village, we do hospitals, and essentially we just have a primary building, then we just add secondaries as you go through, and each one of them gets treated as if it's a standalone building. So, and then we've got ancillary buildings, which are sheds and just sort of low-cost buildings and so forth. And so we take photos of that, it categorises them, and then the BA will upload it. So let's say they just did one job, and they could have been there for an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It really depends on whether they're catching a boat or whether they can actually start then and there. Upload the job, and then it goes from booked to ready for peer review. So at the start of the job changes, it gets picked up in the office from the QS peer review team.
So the system peer reviews itself?
Yes, it does. So based on all the algorithms that we've got, what it does, it takes all that information, it does a soft peer review on it based on, we call them yardsticks. So if it's a hospital, it should be fitting within this parameter. And if it's a 5-star hotel, it should be sitting in this parameter. If it's a 3-bedroom house made of weatherboard, it should be fitting in this parameter. So it does all that for you.
But it's also checking things like the floor area, does it match the ceiling area and things like that.
So there's red flags.
Things.
Yeah. So essentially what it does is it puts it in a format that a QS understands, which is an elemental cost plan.
Yep.
So it breaks it up into an elemental cost plan, and then it's a familiar territory for a QS, and so they can look at it and go, it red flags it, so literally does turn red. Yeah. And it goes, hey, before you actually start here, maybe you should check these first. And it gives them a bit of a pathway into doing the peer review, and it sort of helps with our consistency. We deal with the big ticket items first, and then we just go through the other items. And what the QS will do is they'll have a look at the photos and description and any other information that we may have.
So to untick these peer reviews, the ones that are red, he has to make them green before he can go forward. Is that correct?
Well, that's the answer.
That's only bit enough.
Yeah, that's right. It used to happen like that, literally, but now it's quite more. It's more intuitive in the fact that we trust them a lot better. They can progress on, but the whole system will tell you on whether there's something wrong.
Yep.
And we generally, what we worked towards when we developed it is we wanted it to be within 10%. which was an industry standard for quantity surveying, and we sort of took it a little bit further, and we want to be 5% either way, plus or minus, which is huge. So we've worked to make sure that when the job gets uploaded to the system, that the system peer reviews it to that plus or minus 5, and then the QS then gives it the solid looking over. And anything that sort of goes outside that, there's a status in the system that we can put it to management peer review, where it goes to usually a team of 2 or 3, and they'll actually go over it and go, this has actually gone outside it. The yardstick is, if you wanted to convert it to a square metre rate, was 20,000 a square metre for this, and it's 40. Why?
Yeah.
And we've had this in a big residential property where we'd actually ring up the client or ring up the builder, or, sometimes we'll ring the client, and the client will say, we'll talk to the architect, the builder, and we'll get a hold of it and say, why in this instance, and I'm thinking of, is this property $60,000 a square metre, as in a 3-bedroom house.
Yes.
And we can't see it.
Yep.
And then they will send through the specifications and tell you that everything is the best of the best, and the process that they went through to build it. So we can handle bespoke. We can handle anything. The funny thing is when we first started, we started off with a lot of sort of basic standard houses, and now we seem to specialise in top end. So when you ask, the original question was, how long does it take? It's taking longer because we're actually doing top end houses. And there's a particular product that we do for an insurer which deals specifically with that. But they've entered into an agreement with us with regards to giving their clients visibility and also with the cost.
So once the QS has done his peer review and he's happy with it, what happens then?
Once the QS has done the peer review, they then change the status to admin. And then it goes to the admin team. So essentially they do the same thing, and that's part of their daily process. They'll have a look at all the admin ones. And then they essentially, admin are responsible for spelling and grammar and nothing to do with numbers, because the QS is historically
not very good at spelling.
And they're not interested in it.
Oh, you don't have spell check on Excel, that's why.
Yeah. And so the admin team get a hold of it. They then give it the once over, have a look at all the scope, and make sure that we've actually fulfilled what the client wants, and then go through the description. Because again, when we first started this, we were very word heavy and very number heavy, and didn't really care about descriptions, but they've been used to getting valuations from valuers who sell houses.
Yeah.
We don't paint that picture, we paint the picture with numbers, they paint it with words, so we sort of had to get better at it.
And we're pretty selective on what photographs go in that report as well, aren't we?
Yeah, we don't cram the report up with photos, but the login allows the broker or the insurer at this stage, with the right permissions, they can go and see all the photos.
Yeah.
So at claim time, photos are gold.
How many photographs do you think that the BA would roughly take when he's on site?
I think they've sort of taken on average about 40 now, whereas beforehand there was about 10 because we had a problem with storage and so forth. And I was talking to a BA the other day who used to work for us full time, and he came back to help us out because of capacity as a part-time role. And one of the questions he asked says, are we still limited on photos? He says, you can take as many photos as you like.
That's quite pleasing to see, isn't it?
Well, it is. And the thing was, I actually then had a look at his couple of jobs, and he was still really light on the photos. But yeah, we take a lot of photos there. And not just...
I remember it used to block the whole system down. It was before we'd take photographs and upload them out. So
tech's allowed us, and not only that, the phones as well. So it's allowed us to do what we need to do. So yeah, average 40. Commercials can be more. It really depends.
So when the admin person's done their role and the process, what happens?
Well, essentially they generate the report. So once they've had a look at the wordings and so forth, and made sure that the scope's been met by the client, because there might be some quirky little things in there that we said that we would do, and they then issue the report.
And that feeds into our accountants team as well.
Yeah.
Is that all part of that process?
It's all linked in.
It's all linked.
Yeah. It goes through our accounting system. Our invoices go out when we start the job. So they're in the system. So that's all linked up. And so all our accounting's all linked in there as well. And we want to use that word again. And then it goes to complete.
Hmm.
And then if somebody was to ring up upon receiving their report and they might have a query, then we basically change status to query. And then we deal with the query and we write all the information in there, and it goes back to the QSs and then it goes to the admin team and it goes through that cycle again. But we've got, again, a timeline for the query.
Yep.
And we generally try and get them resolved in a day.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett.
Okay, no worries.